give me a chance to prove it to you. Let me show you the facts. Let me show you the evidence. I will not give up. I will not give in. Please, just give me a chance.
This is the family next door.
Very connected, very loving, very bonded.
She dedicated the book to her husband. On the cover page, in the space that authors reserve for the people they love, she wrote his name. She called him my amazing husband and a wonderful father. She said the book existed because of their boys, because grief needed somewhere to go, and she had found a way to give it a place. The book is called Are You With Me?
So my husband passed away unexpectedly last year. So it's March 4th was a 1-year anniversary for us, and he was 39. It completely took us all by shock. And we have 3 little boys, 10, 9, and 6. And you know, my kids and I kind of wrote this book on the different emotions and grieving processes that we've experienced last year.
It is a children's picture book about a boy who loses his father, about finding the presence of someone who is gone in the small, ordinary things around you. A firefly in the yard, a warm breeze through a window, a particular quality of morning light. Kouri Richins self-published it in March of 2023. She promoted it on local television and radio. She spoke about the 3 C's of grief: connection, continuity, and care. She spoke about her 3 sons and what they had needed when their father died. On March 16th, 2026, a jury in Summit County, Utah, found Kouri Richins guilty of murdering the man she had dedicated that book to.
That amount of fentanyl shows that Kouri Richins wanted Eric not only dead, but good and dead.
Do you understand that you have the right to testify at trial?
Yes, I do.
Are you following your attorney's advice and waiving your right to testify at trial?
Yes, I am.
In terms of putting up a witness, who are you going to put up there? Who's going to, there's no expert testimony in this case. We know how he died. He died from fentanyl poisoning. The issue is, how did he get the fentanyl?
It had taken them 3 hours. This is the case of Eric and Kouri Richins.
One highlight from the trial, body cam taken the night Eric Richins was found dead after his wife allegedly spiked his Moscow Mule cocktail with fentanyl.
And this is the open file. Eric Eugene Richins was born on May 13th, 1982, in Bountiful, Utah. He grew up on his family's cattle ranch, a childhood of early mornings, of hauling hay and mending fences, of learning what it means to work with your hands towards something that matters. His family described him as the kind of person who made everything fun, not in a performative way, but in the way of someone whose energy is genuine and contagious. The kind of person you don't fully appreciate until they aren't in the room anymore. He played sports. He coached his son's teams. He loved hunting and four-wheelers, and the particular freedom of a mountain landscape that has not been arranged for human comfort.
He taught those boys so much. They idolized their father, and he idolized the boys as well.
His obituary reads, Eric loved fully, laughed loudly, and lived life with reckless abandon. There was never a dull moment when you were around him. After the University of Utah, where he earned a degree in international studies, he built a stonework business that by all accounts was thriving. He was known as someone who could build and sustain relationships in business, in his community, in his family. He had been married before. That marriage ended in divorce. He was the kind of man who, having been through something like that, found himself genuinely hopeful when he met someone new.
They spent a lot of time together.
The happy American couple.
kind of afraid to go get it, so we had to have a friend run in and go get it from her.
I'm dating this guy. What did you think?
Kouri was terrified of me meeting me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I'm the big brother and...
Tough.
Yeah.
He met Kouri Darden at a Home Depot in Park City, where she worked as a cashier. His employees would tease her about the crush he was developing. Eventually, he worked up the courage and asked for her number. They fell in love quickly.
And he kind of looked over at Kouri, and I was like, oh, you know. And he just kind of looked over, and I says, you know, go over there and check out with her, you know. So they did. And anyway, they ended up having a date, and everybody was cracking up. Oh, he finally did it, you know. And it was just so cute, you know. And they finally went out, and from then on, they were like glued to each other, you know. It was perfect, I thought.
Their first son, Carter, was born in July of 2012. They married in June of 2013. 2 more boys followed, Ashton and Weston. It looked, from the outside, like the life he had wanted.
Seemed genuinely happy with each other.
They had it all. I mean, it was one happy family. And he taught those boys so much.
He was 39 years old when he died.
He went to sleep and never woke up.
She was a complete wreck. She's just sitting on the couch, she's just bawling.
The prenuptial agreement was there from the beginning. When Eric and Kouri married in June of 2013, they signed a prenup that outlined several financial agreements for their marriage. At the time, it was probably a practical document, a formality that made sense given Eric's established business and his history of a prior marriage. It is only later, in the context of everything that would follow, that the prenup takes on a different weight. For several years, the marriage appeared to be what the Richins family projected it as. Eric's masonry business grew. The 3 boys grew. They lived in a house in Francis, Utah, a small community in Summit County, between the Wasatch Mountains and the Uinta Range, the kind of place where people choose to raise children.
Eric and Kouri seemed to have it all. Would you say that was so,
I would
Lisa?
say that, yes.
I don't know that I can even begin to overstate how close this family was.
At one time?
Yeah.
I would say, on average, 3.
So it was kind of a constant rotation
Yes.
of buying a home, fixing it up, selling it.
Yes.
Buying houses, fixing them up, and selling them for profit.
Kouri had something that a lot of people don't. A lot of times you find an individual that is intelligent, but no common sense, or common sense and no intelligence. She had both. She was a brilliant young lady.
In 2019, Kouri launched Kouri Richins Realty, a house-flipping business. She hired a nanny to care for the boys and dove in. To fund it, she drew on a $250,000 home equity line of credit secured against the family home in Francis. The HELOC was taken out in Eric's name. Kouri signed it as his attorney, in fact. Eric Richins did not know about it. When Eric's brother-in-law Clint Benson discovered the loan in Summit County property records, he told Eric. Eric was, by Benson's testimony at trial, very upset and sad.
Eric and Kouri sat down every month and did the bills together. At all times, Eric knew what was going in and what was coming in.
The two had a conversation about divorce attorneys. Eric made an appointment. He did not file. What happened instead, in the testimony of the wife of Eric's business partner, was that Kouri told a friend she felt trapped, that a divorce would leave Eric financially secure and leave her with nothing, that the prenup made leaving impossible in the way she needed it to be. She said that, in many ways, it would be better if he were dead.
He was worth much more to her dead then divorced. She felt that there was easy money and fast money to be made by not having her husband around anymore.
That was said in December of 2021. The friend who testified to it, Becky Lloyd, said she did not want to be on the stand saying it, but she knew that was what was said. By the time Eric Richins died, Kouri's real estate business had attempted 236 overdraft transactions, totaling more than $300,000. The forensic accountant who testified at trial said the enterprise was imploding, that it had been collapsing since at least 2021, that without a significant infusion of cash, it would continue to collapse. Eric Richins' life was insured for more than $2 million. What no one had told Kouri, what she would not learn until the day after Eric died, was that Eric had quietly created a trust, that he had designated his sister Katie as trustee in charge of his estate, that whatever Kouri had been planning, the money she believed she would inherit was not going to come to her the way she expected. She didn't know, not until it was already done. Around early 2020, Kouri Richins began a romantic relationship with a man named Robert Josh Grossman. They had met years before when Kouri was flipping a house in South Carolina. Grossman moved to Utah in 2020. Kouri let him live in houses she was renovating while he worked on them. She bought him 2 trucks. She gave him money when he needed it. She let him into her life in a way she was simultaneously arranging to make permanent. Grossman testified at trial. He wiped his eyes. He shifted in his seat. The jury watched as pages of text messages between them were displayed on a screen in the Summit County Courthouse.
Sir, would you like to take a break?
Mr. Grossman, not with me. Do you need a minute or two?
I don't know what I need.
Let's just start with that. Why don't we take a pause for a moment?
I do want a future together. I do want you. Figure life out together. She sent that message 2 weeks before her husband died. If he could just go away and you could just be here, life would be so perfect. I love you. On February 15th, 2022, 16 days before Eric Richins died, she texted Grossman, asking if he would marry her if she were divorced. He replied, "Yes, in love with YOU, of course I would." On the evening of March 3rd, 2022, Grossman sent her a gif of 2 people kissing. The caption said, "Love you." She was planning brunch with him the next morning to celebrate a property closing. Hours after he sent that message, Eric Richins was dead. Grossman testified about the weeks that followed. He said Kouri appeared to be grieving, that their relationship ended, that when a private investigator hired by Eric's family contacted him after Kouri's arrest and told him what she was suspected of, he said he was blown away and began looking at everything in our past with a different set of goggles. He said he had been confused for years. Between December 2021 and February 2022, Kouri Richins sent text messages to a person who had previously been arrested on drug charges. She was asking for prescription pain medication. She received hydrocodone. Then she asked for something stronger. She called it the Michael Jackson stuff, a crude reference, and asked for fentanyl, for the specific vocabulary of someone who understood that certain drugs, in certain quantities, produce outcomes that cannot be reversed. Carmen Lober was the housekeeper for the Richins family. She testified that Kouri asked her to acquire drugs on 4 separate occasions, that she contacted a drug dealer, that she arranged the exchanges, that she delivered fentanyl pills to Kouri Richins at the family home.
Did Kouri Richins ever ask you to purchase for her illicit drugs?
Yes.
How many times?
4.
Did you purchase illicit drugs for her?
Yes.
How many times?
4.
When you purchased illicit drugs for Kouri Richins the first time, who did you purchase the drugs from?
Susan Kohler.
When you purchased Kouri for Kouri Richins drugs the second time, who did you purchase the drugs from?
Robbie.
By Robbie, do you mean Robert Crozier?
Yes.
How about the third time?
Robbie.
The fourth time?
Robbie.
3 days after the drugs were obtained, Kouri and Eric sat down to a Valentine's Day dinner. It was Valentine's Day. They had a dinner. Eric Richins ate a sandwich. After the meal, Eric became ill. He told a friend what he believed had happened. According to court documents, Eric told a friend that he thought his wife was trying to poison him. He did not go to a hospital. He did not call law enforcement. He did not leave the house or ask her to leave it. He got sick. He recovered. He went back to his life. No one who testified at trial could fully explain why he stayed. Perhaps he wasn't certain enough. Perhaps the certainty was too painful to act on. Perhaps there is a particular kind of loyalty that remains even when instinct screams against it. A loyalty to a marriage, to 3 boys, to a life that had been built together and would have to be publicly dismantled if he were to end it. 2 weeks after Valentine's Day, Kouri Richins obtained more fentanyl. What is documented is this. He told a friend he thought she was trying to poison him. And then, on the night of March 4th, 2022, he drank a cocktail that she made for him. Kouri Richins told investigators that she and Eric put the children to bed around 9 o'clock in the evening, that she and Eric then had a drink to celebrate a new business venture for her, a Moscow Mule. They went to bed between 9:30 and 9:45. She said that shortly after, one of their boys woke with a nightmare, that she went to his room, that she fell asleep there. She said that around 3 in the morning she returned to the bedroom she shared with Eric. She got into the bed and lay close to him. She noticed he was very cold, so she pulled a blanket over him and nudged him. He did not respond. She called 911. When first responders arrived, they found Eric Richins on the bedroom floor. He was pronounced dead at his home. He was 39 years old. The autopsy and toxicology results showed that Eric Richins had orally ingested 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl. He had no prior history of illicit drug use, no prescription drug history, no medical condition that would explain the presence of the drug. There was no evidence anywhere in the home of drug use. There was no explanation in the evidence, in the records, in the statements, for how 5 times the lethal dose of a synthetic opioid entered the body of a man with no history of using it. A search warrant was executed on the Richins home. No drugs were found. In the weeks and months that followed, the community around the Richins family sympathized with Kouri. She was a widow overnight, 3 young boys without their father. People cooked meals, people checked in. She was the center of a community's grief, the mother left behind. What no one yet knew was what investigators were quietly building. In March of 2023, Approximately 1 year after Eric Richins died, Kouri Richins self-published a children's picture book. She called it Are You With Me? The book tells the story of a child who has lost his father. It follows the boy as he looks for signs of his father's presence in the ordinary moments of a day, in a firefly in the yard, in the particular quality of light through a window, in the small living things that go unnoticed until you are looking for something to hold on to. In the book, the father becomes a firefly. On April 6, 2023, Kouri appeared on a local morning talk show, Good Things Utah. She sat across from two hosts and described what the book was for. She said that she and her boys had written it together. She explained the 3 C's of grief: connection, continuity, and care. She said she hoped it would help other families going through what hers had gone through. The dedication page called Eric, My Amazing Husband and a Wonderful Father. After the cameras stopped, she spoke to one of the hosts off camera. She mentioned that she believed Eric had actually died from COVID, from lung issues. The host later described the conversation as strange. She said Kouri had seemed emotionless throughout the interview, that she had kept her jacket on the entire time. Shortly after the show aired, an email arrived in the inbox of every staff member at the production. The subject line was the title of Kouri's book. The body of the email, in capital letters with multiple exclamation points, read, "You know she killed her husband." The email was anonymous. About a week later, one of the hosts received a Facebook message from an account with no photographs and no identifying information, urging her to look more closely at the woman who had just appeared on her show. On May 8th, 2023, Kouri Richins was officially charged with the murder of her husband. The book remained available for purchase.
We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of aggravated murder. We, the jury, unanimously agree that the prosecution has proved the following circumstance or circumstances regarding count 1 beyond a reasonable doubt. The homicide was committed for pecuniary gain, and the homicide was committed by means of the administration of any substance administered in a lethal amount, dosage, or quantity.
There is one detail in this case that does not receive as much attention as the rest. It is perhaps the most quietly devastating detail of all. At some point before he died, after he learned about the HELOC, after he consulted with an attorney, after he discussed divorce, Eric Richins had created a trust. The trust was designed to protect his assets, to ensure that, upon his death, the estate he had built through his masonry business would be managed by someone he trusted, his sister, Katie. He designated Katie Richins Benson as trustee. He arranged for the trust to take effect upon his death. He told his brother-in-law. He told his attorney. He did not tell Kouri. Prosecutors told the jury that Kouri did not learn about the trust until the day after Eric died, that the estate she had planned to inherit, more than $4 million in assets, along with more than $2 million in insurance, was not going to come to her the way she had assumed, that the trust Eric had created had arranged, quietly and carefully, to ensure his children would be protected, even if he was not there to protect them himself. The money she had killed him for was not going to be hers the way she expected. What she did not know, at the moment she handed him that drink, was that he had already changed the plan.
Dear Judge Mrazek, I'm here today to represent my brother, Eric Eugene Richins. His life was taken in a senseless act of poisoning on March 3rd, 2022. His wife, the defendant, has been accused of committing this crime. If she is found guilty, she has committed the ultimate act of betrayal. Eric is gone, and I am brokenhearted. He was my best friend and protector. The feeling of loss is so great it is visceral. Eric died under horrendous circumstances. I am tormented at the thought of what he endured. I play it out in my mind. I go through the terrible sequence of events. I wonder when he realized he was in mortal danger. I wonder what Kouri may have said to him in his last moments. How long was he conscious, knowing he would die? Where were Eric's boys when all of this happened? Did they hear Eric's body fall to the ground? We have watched as Kouri has paraded around portraying herself as a grieving widow and victim while trying to profit from the death of my brother. Both by trying to profit from a book about his death and trying to get life insurance and assets that should go exactly where Eric wanted them to his boys. Immediately after Eric was killed, Kouri told us she could not help us get anything ready for the funeral as she was too distraught with grief. We shortly found out that was not true at all. In fact, she pulled herself together enough to go close on the purchase of a $2 million home, hire a real estate agent, hire an architect to create CAD drawings of the home, hire a lawyer in order to file a lawsuit on Eric's trust, hire a locksmith to come break into and clean out my brother's safe, and attempt to have Eric cremated. She mustered up the strength and resolve to do most of this within 48 hours of his death. Kouri assaulted me. Her behavior gives me great concern, as she has exploited the boys for money and will likely do so again. In addition, Kouri has weaponized Eric's children, manipulating my dad to do or not do things by threatening to cut him out of their lives if he did not capitulate to her demands. She similarly deprived the boys of contact with myself, my sister, and her daughters, unless we agreed to give her the money in Eric's trust. Since Eric's death, we have learned and unfortunately are continually reminded that Kouri is desperate, greedy, and extremely manipulative. If she gets out on bail, I will be afraid not only for my own life and those of all of my family, but most importantly for the lives of Eric's 3 sons. Our family has already suffered enough. Please do not let Kouri out on bail where she will be a risk to do further harm. Please protect what Eric put his life on the line for, his 3 boys. Thank you.
The trial of Kouri Richins began on February 23rd, 2026, at the Summit County Justice Center outside Park City. It had been nearly 4 years since Eric Richins died in his bedroom. The delay had been long enough that the case had become something the public had nearly accepted would never reach a jury. It reached 1. Prosecutors called more than 40 witnesses over 3 weeks. The text messages between Kouri and Grossman were read aloud and displayed on screens in the courtroom. The forensic accountant laid out the architecture of a business that had been collapsing since 2021 in detail with charts. The housekeeper testified about what she was asked to obtain and what she obtained. A friend told the jury what Kouri had said in December 2021, that it would be better if Eric were dead. Another told them Kouri had said she felt trapped. The forensic pathologist confirmed that Eric Richins had no sign of heart disease, no natural cause of death, only fentanyl at 5 times the lethal level, ingested orally. Grossman took the stand. He cried. He said he had been confused for years. The defense rested its case without calling a single witness. Kouri Richins waived her right to testify. On March 16, 2026, the jury returned after 3 hours of deliberations. Guilty on all counts. First-degree aggravated murder, attempted aggravated murder, forgery, insurance fraud. Eric's sister, Amy, spoke outside the courthouse afterward. "Honestly, I feel like we're all in shock," she said. "It's been a long time coming. Just very happy that we got justice for my brother." Members of Eric's family had been heard crying in the courtroom as the judge read the verdict. Kouri Richins showed no visible reaction. Eric Richins was 39 years old when he died. He had 3 sons, 9, 7, and 5. He had a masonry business and a cattle ranch background, and the kind of laugh that his family said filled a room. He had been through a divorce before and found something he believed in enough to try again. He had created a trust to protect his children. He told a friend after Valentine's Day that he believed his wife was trying to poison him, and then he went home. What the trial cannot answer, what no verdict and no sentencing can answer, is what those final 2 weeks looked like from inside them. Whether there was a moment in which he understood, fully and completely, what was being arranged around him. Whether he stayed in that house because of the boys. Whether the man who loved fully and laughed loudly and lived with reckless abandon had, in those last 2 weeks, become very still and very quiet in a way that the people around him did not know to name as fear. There is a children's book still in the world. The author said she wrote it to help children understand that the people they lose do not disappear entirely, that a father who is gone can still be found in the ordinary things. She dedicated it to him. Kouri Richins is awaiting sentencing on May 13th, 2026. She faces 25 years to life without parole for aggravated murder. Additional sentences for the attempted murder on Valentine's Day, for the forgery, for the insurance fraud. 3 boys are growing up without their father. They are the ones for whom the book was written. They are the ones who cannot be told, not yet, not fully, the complete story of how their father died and who decided that he should. What happened to Eric Richins is not an unsolved case. The jury decided that in 3 hours. The absence here is not the absence of an answer. It is a different kind of absence. The absence of the man himself. The 40 years he did not get. The sons he would have coached and watched and embarrassed in the particular way that fathers embarrass their children, and children are glad for it later. The ordinary evenings. The particular laugh. The house in Francis that went on standing after he was no longer in it. She called him my amazing husband and a wonderful father. She signed her name beneath that and put it on a shelf and went on television to talk about grief. It is a case with a verdict, with a sentencing pending, with 3 children who will grow up knowing eventually, all of it. And sometimes, in cases like this, that weight is all that remains.